I know that we all perhaps know how to use PowerPoint already, but today we're going to be doing something extraordinary. We're going to be creating 3D animation in PowerPoint, and it's going to be awesome. Let's check it out. Okay, in this tutorial, we are going to take a 3D floor plan and we're going to place that in a presentation, right? And we're also going to investigate how we can make the presentation more dynamic, right? What do I mean by that? Well, let's check it out. Okay, so if we take a look on our presentation here, right? We see that we have this rendering and we rendered out an image, right? So this is what our image looks like, right? Pretty cool. And what we're gonna do is, let's make this a little bigger. Right, we save this image as a PNG and we're gonna drop this in PowerPoint. So let's fire up PowerPoint now. Okay, so pretty much most people are possibly familiar with PowerPoint. So this is not going to be a PowerPoint tutorial, but we're going to explore some interesting features, right? So I'm going to open a blank presentation here, right? And with this blank presentation, I am going to let's start with a blank slide. So we're going to go to layout and we're going to go to blank slide. Now let us grab that image that we saved. So I'm going to go to insert, I'm going to go to photo to pictures, and then I'm going to go from this device and right, this is the image that we have. Pretty clean image, right? So let us make a title page. Right. All right. Now, maybe I'm going to quickly kind of design something. It won't be the world's greatest design, but we'll try to make something happen. All right. Now, we did use some colors, right? And these colors, I'm going to grab and stick right here. We did use these colors when we were choosing the colors of the floor, right? So you can see the floor and the walls. This is the color scheme that we used. So the idea is we want to use this color scheme also for the presentation, right? So, okay, let's make a title page real quick. So I'm going to take a square, I'm going to drop it here, something like this. Okay, that's good. I'm going to go to format square. I don't want this outline, so I'm going to say shape outline and say none. Then I'm going to right click and send this to back. Of course, because we rendered a PNG image, we have a pretty decent image here. Let's take a look on these colors that we have here. We could grab this color here. So if we go to, I'm going to start this right here and let's go to shape format, fill. We're going to use the eyedropper tool. And what we're going to do is we are going to do a screenshot. So insert, screenshot, screen clip, and I'm going to just snip this here. So I'll keep this for reference. All right, so this color here, I am gonna go to format shape, fill, and yeah, that's the color I want there. Let's add another box here. I'm gonna copy this box by holding Control and drag. Let me put that there. And I'm gonna use the eyedropper again to grab this color. Okay, make sure I have no outline. Okay, good. Yeah, then I'm probably gonna leave this white. Maybe I can put my name here. So I'm gonna insert text. I'm just gonna use a regular text box. I'm gonna say Ian Williams. There we go. Let's find a decent font. How about Century Gothic, one of my favorites. Century Gothic bold. Let's center a line. Let's make the text white. And we're going to make this bigger. All right. Now we're going to put a title. So I'm going to copy this. So perhaps we could make this be the color that we had there. And we're going to make this text larger. And we're going to say interior design. I'm sorry, I'm just making this up as I go along. All right, guys. So don't judge me too harshly for this. There we go. Maybe I can add like a line or something. I don't know. Yeah. If I had a logo, I guess I would put it up here or maybe up here, depending, you know, but that's fine. All right, let's save this file. So we don't want to lose it if anything goes wrong. So I'll call this presentation, interior design presentation. Yeah, that looks about right. All right. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. Okay, let's make the next slide. All right, so let's try and decide what this slide should look like. Now, there's an important trick when you're doing a presentation that you want to be dynamic. A dynamic presentation means that things flow from slide to slide. And the idea is that you want to have a nice smooth flow when it goes to each slide. Now, to do that, we are actually going to be using one of PowerPoint's animate transitions called Morph. That's it right there, which is pretty cool. However, if we're going to use Morph, we have to make sure that we use back the same elements from the previous slide, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to copy this slide and paste it. All right, so this is where I will start with my second slide. Now, let's say that I want to show my floor plan on this slide, all right? And I want to have a title that says floor plan. Now, what I'm going to do is I might just rename this and call this floor plan. And let's keep this line for now. I'm going to make this smaller, right? And I don't think I need my name on this slide. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on it just yet. So I'll just put some dots in the meantime. And I'm going to slide this over here. So the idea is that I want to show my floor plan in this position, right? So again, I'm going to go to insert, and I do have the floor plan here. I actually have it as a SVG file, right, which is a vector file. And then I'm going to go to crop. I'm going to crop this down. This a little bigger, maybe. Yeah. All right, cool. Now we have the floor plan. Now, the cool thing about this, I think I'm going to make this a bit smaller because I might want to have some text in this location here that has to do with the floor plan. So let me remove this, and I'm actually going to put the text in this brown color. I think it would look nice. So yeah, I'm going to drop that here, and I'm going to use some filler text. A good place you can get this is lorem ipsum. You can just Google that and you'll get some great, you can get a lorem ipsum generator, which basically generates filler text, right? So you choose if you want to generate I want to generate one paragraph, choose generate, and there we go. I've generated some text. All right, so I'm just gonna paste this text here. Of course, it's way too big. Let's make that smaller. Select and make that smaller. All right, now we don't need the background, definitely. So I'm gonna say no color. And I think this is too long actually, so I'm gonna make it a little shorter. End it like there. Make this a little bigger. Actually, let's left align. Okay, let's go down. Let's make it bold. And we're gonna make it be, oops, we're gonna make it be this color. And let's make this reach here. All right, so this would be some text information showing me the floor plan. That's right here. Now, maybe I can put some additional information here. Yeah, it will depend on how you want to lay out the floor plan. Okay, so maybe a good thing to place in this location would maybe be features. So we can use this text. I'm going to make it a little smaller, and probably we can call this features. Perhaps we can left align it actually. Then we're going to list some features here. I'm going to grab this text. And I'm going to use this filler text to list some made up features. Of course, remember this is filler text, so it's what I like to call professional gibberish. All right, there we go. So maybe these are the rooms, maybe square footages, or maybe some kind of feature, you know, that's what we show there. Now we're going to make another slide. Now, before we make the next slide, let's save. Now, the reason that I said to copy these is when we go to slideshow, slide transitions, for this slide, we're going to say to do a morph animation. And if you notice what happened there, now I'm going to actually preview this, and let's make this full screen here. And when I preview this, so let's preview. So this is the first slide. When I go to the next slide, notice how everything flows nicely, right? And this is using the morph command, the morph transition. Now, the way that this works is you have to reuse the same graphics or as much as you can from the previous slide. And then PowerPoint will just kind of morph between them, right? So we're going to try to use this theme throughout the rest of the presentation, all right? Now for our next slide, we're going to copy this, paste it here, and we're going to do the same thing again. So for this slide, I think I'm going to remove this 3D image, and let's remove these guys here. All right, now we've already set the features, but we're going to keep the floor plan. So I'm going to select the floor plan. I'm going to move it over to here. And then what we want to do is use another awesome feature of PowerPoint, which is going to be the ability to import 3D models, right? So in order to do this, we need to head back over to our model. There we go, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to export this model here. We're going to go to File, we're going to go to Export, and choose Export. And we're going to export this as a GLB or GLTF format, right? Now, once we do that, this format will allow us to keep the materials, which is great. And this is a very lightweight 3D format that we can use. Now, I already have it exported, so that's why it's telling me if I want to replace. Then we're going to head back over to PowerPoint. Now, for this one now, we want to put the 3D model version of the floor plan on the right-hand side, right? So we're going to go to Insert, then we're going to go to 3D Models and Import. We're going to import the 3D file, and voila, we have an actual live model, which is really cool, right? Live and direct in PowerPoint. Now, the great thing about this plan is that it keeps the transparency, so you can add things in the background. So for example, let's look at some of our colors here. Let's use this one because we haven't used this color. So I'm going to introduce a new kind of box. I'm going to send it to the back, and I'm going to give it a color. That. Let's try that again. There we go. We're going to say no outline. We're going to drop that here. So if you see what I mean, it is fully transparent, which is pretty cool, and you can rotate it, move it around. So you can import your model with materials directly in PowerPoint. Now, even better, what we can do is actually animate this. So we're going to head over to the animation tab, which you find here. And how the animation tab in PowerPoint works is that you have 3 types of animations. You have a arrive animation or an input animation. That is how you animate something coming onto the slide. Then we have an emphasis animation. These are usually in yellow. And then we have an exit animation that's usually in red. So right here, depending on the option and the object you click on, it will give you some entrance animations and some emphasis animation. If I put this drop down box, you will see these are different ways the animation can enter onto your slide. These are different ways it can be emphasized on your slide, and these are ways that it can exit your slide. So as a quick example, if I click on this floor plan here, I can say, okay, enter onto the slide as a grow and as a zoom. That is how it will enter onto the slide, right? So I'm going to undo that. Now, the great thing is that we can also do animations with 3D objects. So we're going to choose the arrive animation, which is pretty cool. So when it gets to this slide, it's going to arrive just like that. Now, this object here, we didn't have an animation for this because this is a new object. So what we're going to do is do a fly in animation. So it will fly in from the bottom. Then we're going to modify this. So if we click on this object and we're going to choose the effect options, and we can choose where do we want it to fly from. So we want it to fly from the bottom. So that is fine. Now, if we click this little arrow here, it will open some additional options for us. So what we want to do, when it ends, we want it to end smoothly. So when it comes in, we don't want it to end abrupt. We want it to just kind of glide in. So let's see what that looks like. So you see it kind of started quick and end smoothly. So right now we have 2 animations. We have this animation that comes in and it's using the arrive 3D animation. And then this is using a fly in from bottom. Now, PowerPoint can keep track of these animations by using the animation pane. If I click this here, you will see it pop up to the side. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So you can see right now, the first thing that's going to happen in this is this will arrive and then this will slide in. And this little mouse icon that you see here means that I have to click for these things to happen. So when I play the presentation, I have to click for this to arrive and click again for the square to come in. I'm going to change that. I am going to say, I want it to start right. I want the 3D model to come in after the previous animation, which is none because the slide just started to play. And then I want the box to come in with the 3D object that is arriving in 3D. And these boxes here, these green boxes that you can see here, represent the length of time. So I want both of them to take pretty much the same time. So if I press play, that is what will happen, which is pretty cool. And if I want the 3D to come in slightly after, I can move it forward and then I press play again. And that's what happens. All right. So this is what will happen on my next slide. So I'm going to click this slide and go to transitions and say also make sure that it's on morph. So let's see what we have now. If I preview my slide, my presentation goes to my next slide. This goes over and then the 3D plan comes in, which is pretty cool. Now, when it gets to this part now, let's say that I want to add some additional information here. Maybe I want to talk about the bedroom or the living room. So let's create the next slide. And in this slide, we're going to remove this guy here. We're going to carry the 3D plan here, and we're going to extend this base over. Now for this plan, what we're going to do, we're going to rotate this way. And we're going to also change the title. So we're going to call it Area Details. Let's make that. As I say, I'm totally just making this up as I go on. So, all right. So you know what's going to happen already. This is going to slide over. This will disappear. And this box will get longer. Now, additionally with this, what we want to do here is we want to get rid of the entrance, the appearance animation, because this object is already on the slide. We don't need it to arrive or appear. So we're going to delete these. But what we want to do is emphasize this animation. So let's go over to animations and we are going to use the turntable animation here, right? So this is an emphasis. So it's not going to come in or exit. So I'm going to press this. And then what you'll notice is that this will start to rotate with a turntable. Now, of course, it's rotating a little funny. And that means we need to click on it and go into our effect options. So we want it to rotate on the object center. Let's see which one of these works. We want it to rotate right. Okay, let's try object center. Yes, that is how we want to rotate it. So this will give us the ability to see different angles of the plan. All right, pretty cool. Now it will automatically transition from here to here and start to rotate, because we're going to say to let the rotation animation, we can set it to do one full spin or continuous. So we're going to make it be continuous. Then we're also going to say, right click and say, let's start after previous. So it will start after the last animation before it. All right. So now we want to show some details here. Right. And for this example, let's use the opportunity to show how, let's say we wanted to highlight this chair, this 4-seater chair as a feature. And let's take maybe this couch as a feature, and we wanted to highlight those details. Maybe they're designer couches or something. I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go on. Right. So let's head back to 3ds Max and we're going to grab this table here. go to perspective. All right, great. Full screen. So what we want to do is export this here. All right, so we're gonna go to file and we're gonna go to export selected. Now notice we don't go to export because we don't want to export the entire scene. Instead, we want to export the selected object, and we're gonna call this table and chairs and export. All right, let's grab this couch, grab this, and we're gonna go the same thing. We're gonna go export selected. We're going to say couch. Let's say sofa single. All right. And we're going to export this as well. All right. Let's head back into PowerPoint. Right. So we're going to import those objects here. Right. So let's go to insert and we're going to go to 3D models. And we got to do this one at a, we can grab two of them at the same time. There we go. Pretty cool. So we have this couch here. Let's make this a little smaller. And we have our table here. Let's make this a little smaller. All right. Great. Now we're gonna maybe grab some text from a previous slide. Let's grab some of this professional gibberish. And we're gonna drop it down here. Oops. Paste it here. All right, there we go. And this time around, we're gonna make this text. It should be centric Gothic, but we want to use a different centric Gothic. Let's use the skinny one. Yeah, let's use that one. And we're gonna copy this. Them a little smaller. So these could be like descriptions, maybe they're special detail, they're special designs that are used in the interior, I guess. As I said, I'm just making this up. I'm gonna copy this title here, hold Control, and I'll put able. Let's make this text smaller. And I think this would look better if we put it in maybe the same color as floor. Yeah, and let's say sofa. All right, that's great. Let's get underlined here. I think this might be nicer. All right. So then what we're going to do now is we are going to say for animation, we're going to say arrive, and we're going to let this arrive as well. So it's going to be, if we look here, you can see that, okay, this is going to play where this, when I click the mouse, this, the table will arrive, then the sofa will arrive. Instead, what I want to do is I want this to arrive after, no, with previous. So everything happens together. And I'm going to say with previous. No, after previous. Or with. Let me do it with. And then I'm going to carry this down. Carry this down like that. Yeah. And as for the text and everything else, I'm going to group this as well. And okay, so we're going to animate these two guys here. So we're going to let these arrive. Maybe we're going to let them fly in, but not from the bottom. We're going to make it flying from the top, or let's make it floating. Yeah, but let's make it floating from the top. There we go. But we want the table to float in before the, we want the table title to float in before the table. So we're going to put that here, like that. The title will float in. And then we want the sofa title, which is this, to float in there. So if I hit play, that should happen. And then, oh, this is set to do after mouse click. We need to set this to play with previous actually. There we go. Press play now. All right, looking good. Let's also make this text. Let's let it fly in from the bottom, and we'll let the text come in after previous. We let it come in with previous. So after this, let's see. Okay. No, let's let it fly with previous and let the text come in like about that. There we go. Yeah. All right. Now the other thing is that when this comes in, we don't want it to stay stationary because it's a 3D object. So we want it to turn, we want it to rotate, and we're going to say let it rotate on object center and let it rotate after previous. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe yeah, this might be a little funny. So we need to make it rotate with preview. Maybe I have to carry it here a little bit, and we're going to let the rotation happen continuously. All right, we're going to do the same thing for this. We're going to add the turntable after, with previous. There we go. So the table appears, it starts to rotate pretty much same time. Then the sofa appears, then the sofa starts to rotate, and then the titles come in. Let's check that out. Okay, of course, we need the chair to rotate along the axis. All right, and let's check out to see what happens. We need this to rotate after they appear. So let's see. Okay, looks good. All right. Now I did end up replacing the entrance effect for the table and chair. That's why when I hit play, they're not floating in, right? So the difference is when I click this, I need to choose add animation instead of choosing an animation here, because if I just pick a different animation, it's just going to replace this animation with something else. So let me undo that. So now I need to choose add animation. I'm going to add an arrive, and I'm going to put that arrive before it rotates. I'm going to say start with previous like that, and then I'm going to do the same thing for this. There you go. I'm going to choose previous. Yeah, previous. There we go. All right, let's check it out. Right. Yeah, that's looking like it. All right, now I can maybe if it's going too fast, I can always click on this and then click on the turntable animation. I go to options here, and I could let it do a half spin, or I could let it go front and back. I can also go to effect options here, and I can go to timing. Like if I wanted to, I could do a delay, or I can choose the duration, right? So for example, I think this is moving a little too fast. So if I click on this here, I can right click and go to timing, and I can say I want it to be really slow. Let me put it at 40. Let me see if I will get through with that. There we go. So that is really slow. All right, great. Let's save and let's see what we have now. So that's my next slide. That's my next slide. And it goes over there and starts to rotate. Then the table and the sofa comes in along with the text. Right. So pretty cool. So you can have a whole dynamic animation complete with 3D models, 3D objects, rendered images, all working together in PowerPoint. Okay, that was a quick tutorial. I hope you guys like this kind of tutorial. Let me know if there are other things you wanted me to focus on, or if there's any other type of tutorials that you'd want me to create. By the way, if you want to find out how to build this 3D floor plan from scratch, check out my previous video. I have a full lowdown of how to create it from scratch using 3D Studio Max. Until next time, see you soon.